know French fries?
Yeah.
They're not even French.
Okay, so what does that matter?
Well, they don't even call them French fries in France. They call them pommes frites.
Which means?
Fried apple.
But they're not apples.
Yeah, but a potato's not an apple either, and they call a potato pomme de terre, apple of the ground.
So they think potato. So the French are really mixed up.
They're really screwed up.
Okay, so, well, it's a good thing that we're not, because this week what we are doing is we actually did some research to find what were considered the top places in Racine to get French fries. And we went out and sacrificed ourselves to taste test them for you.
All in the name of research.
All in the name of research. So stick around and we'll be right back. We'll tell you a little bit about A, where French fries did really come from, and B, who named them, but also what are some of the best places and what can you expect when you're looking for great French fries in Racine. Be right back.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
If you get value from our content, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on so you don't miss any content.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing you can do that's really helpful is if you know somebody who's looking for the perfect fries today, share this as well, because sharing actually is caring. We know this. No, actually, because sharing helps the channel to grow, and it helps other people in Racine to know about what's going on with the fries.
Yeah, it also helps the small businesses that we actually visited.
Yeah. Now, we want to start out by saying that these small businesses that we did visit, they did not know we were coming. These are completely independent. They did not comp us any of this food. We pay for it all out of pocket. Mm-hmm. And we go and we do our research like properly. We don't ask them for anything. We don't even tell them when we arrive, because we are evaluating things, not just the food itself, but also a little bit of the service and the ambiance and things like that. But since we're talking about French fries today, and Russ, you let us know that, you know, they're not actually from France. Where are they from?
They're actually from Belgium.
Really?
Yeah. And so
broke people in Belgium, from what I saw.
Yeah, they used to catch small fish on the river.
Okay.
And they used to fry them up.
Right. They still do, probably.
When the rivers froze over and they couldn't get at the fish, because they didn't have those big augers that we have now to go through the ice.
They didn't do ice fishing in Belgium.
No. So they used to slice up their potatoes to make them look like small fish.
Right.
And they used to fry them up, and they started eating them. And the name actually came from American soldiers that were based there in the First World War.
So what I did find interesting when we were looking at this is that these are from Belgium, like in the 1680s is when they first recorded doing this.
Started doing it.
Well, it's when they first recorded that they were doing it. Let's put it that way. The first recognition of it. Because when we tried to do some research on it, they were like, yeah, nobody actually invented it. No one person invented French fries. However, like you said, in World War I, the American soldiers went over and they were the ones who actually gave the name French fries. And the main reason,
because they was in a French-speaking area of Belgium at the time.
Right. So they were in Belgium, and there was mostly French-speaking, and so they said French fries.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe they were trying to add a little bit of class to the idea, you know. Who knows? But what's interesting is that France, nothing to do with fries, particularly in any way, shape, or form. Which you would think, because obviously France has a very large culinary tradition, it's kind of surprising they didn't, but I think it's interesting. So Belgium, you get the credit for French fries, but American soldiers,
you get very much.
And American World War I soldiers, you get the credit for naming them. So there we go. But let's talk about the French fries here. So we went to, we actually sampled 4 different ones. One of them, however, not the best fries necessarily, but they are for a family value, and we're going to talk about them at the end.
Yeah, that'll be a bonus.
That'll be our bonus at the end for you guys, that they might be a really good fit for you if you have a family, because the budget on them is amazing. And they were still good fries, but they just weren't
they're
top
really
of the
good
line.
fries. But
let's start with the first one we went to, and we're just going to talk about them in the order that we went, and then when we get to the end of the video, we'll tell you which ones we each liked best, because guess what? He liked one better, and I liked a different one better. So we're going to talk about that.
We did.
So the first place we went to was the Bridge Tender. The new, it's like a new bar pub type place. It's like a...
Yeah, it's down on the Root River, right on the river. So it's got nice views looking out.
Absolutely. And it's got nice tables outside with umbrellas and stuff like that. So when the weather's nicer, you can actually sit outside and have a drink. And if you have a boat, you can just pull off into one of their dock slips there that they have available for people to pull up to. So, and it is right before you get to the bridge on right next to State Street.
It's between the bridge and the Chart Room restaurant.
Right. And it is related. It is owned by the same people who own the Chart Room. The Chart Room is actually more upscale food, like more sit down food, whereas this is more like pub grub at the Bridge Tender. So Bridge Tender, they were actually noted as having really good fries, even though they're very new. And we went there and we asked them.
Yeah, we sampled 2 different types there.
We
had
did.
The plain.
Because we went to just get the plain ones, and the waitress was really thinking that we should... we did tell her that we were kind of evaluating fries, and she goes, oh, well, you need to try the buffalo ones too. And I'm like, okay. And we're like, well, in our budget, we really only had to get 1 fry at each one. But I will say she was a very good waitress, very good bartender, and she upsold us because we ended up paying for 2 things of fries because she didn't really disclose that part. She was like, oh, I can get you half and half. And then when she brought them out, they were 2 full baskets.
Yeah.
And
you got quite a good amount.
It was a decent amount. I didn't think it was like a massive amount. I think some of the other places we went were more. They were more generous. Because when you looked at that actual, and there's some pictures here. We're going to throw up some pictures throughout while we're talking here from each of these, because we did take pictures when we were there. And you can see there were 2 kinds of fries. There were the buffalo fries and the regular fries.
Yes.
The buffalo fries were significantly thinner. And you can see that in this picture. That there was, and like I said, we've got a bunch of pictures when we're putting this together. You'll see them. You'll see them up here. Yeah. So you've probably already seen the picture of the buffalo and the regular together, because there's that one picture where I was holding them with my hands, you know, and you can see that the buffalo fries are significantly thinner. But both of them came out hot. They came out in a basket form. Yeah. That was the other reason we went inside to each of these places. We wanted to see what the presentation was as well.
Yeah, and how fast they were at cooking them. And they were quite quick.
They were quite quick. We did not have to wait very long. Bartender did keep trying to say, hey, would you like something to drink? Like, of course, she's a good bartender. She's wanting to get a good tip. She did get a tip. We tipped at every single place we went to.
Yeah.
But we were just there to evaluate the fries. And so we're like, thanks, but no thanks. We're just going to have some fries. And so then we also leave our card at the end to let them know that we evaluated their fries and that they can give to the owner. At time of us recording this, we did not have any response from any of the owners of the places that we went to. If we do get a response and they do send a coupon code of any kind, we will put that in the description if that comes in later after this recording.
Yeah.
We'll update the description. But at the time of taping and at the time of uploading, there were no
But both the
codes.
fries at the Bridge Tender were hot.
They were hot.
They were crispy.
They were.
And, you know, for me, they didn't quite have enough salt.
So here's part of the problem is that salt is one of those things that I think everybody has a different taste on.
Yeah.
And you and I do like foods to be saltier. So for us, we like salty fries. Like if you're going to give me fries, I want them to be salty.
Now, we did. Obviously, they do have condiments at the bar, so you can always add some more salt yourself or sauces to dip the fries in. But we were trying to review them on how they are served, not how we would like
now,
them.
The bartender, she did offer us sauces. She goes, do you want any sauce with these? And we said, no, thank you. They did not automatically come with a sauce.
No.
So I do think that's a loss for them. I do think when you're serving fries, you should probably serve it with a side of ketchup. But there was only one place that did that.
And they do other sauces as well.
That could be. That could be that maybe they would offer a buffalo sauce or something. But we just said, no thanks. We just wanted to see how it came when it came. So it doesn't come automatically with a sauce. I don't know if there's an upcharge for the sauce or not. That's the other thing we did. I'm sure they wouldn't charge for ketchup, but I don't know if they have an upcharge.
So how much was they at the...
they were about $5 a piece because they were like $4 a piece because the total of them came to like $8.50, $8.75, and then I rounded it up to $10 just as a quick tip since it was just a fry thing, and under $10 for everything. So at each place I just tipped $1, just, thanks for helping us, because it was we were pretty easy. We came in, sat down, and we didn't even eat all of the fries. We actually took some, because there's another thing that we did when we got home. We actually put them into I brought a container in, threw not the leftovers, but we only wanted to sample a few, because we didn't want to get too full to not be able to taste the others. And so we threw the extras into a dish and took them home with us. Yeah. And so we just had a few while we were there, and then we got up and left. So we were there maybe 10 minutes. Yeah. 10 minutes tops, I would say, because they came out really fast. They came out within we sat down. She was over to us within a couple of minutes, within 2 minutes. The fries came and were plopped in front of us probably within 5 minutes. And we tasted, took our photos, dropped our card, paid, and we were out of there probably in less than 15 minutes for sure. So it was a really quick service, and that was really, really good.
Yeah, that was really good.
So then the second place we went to was Ivanhoe's. Yeah. Now, Ivanhoe's, I wouldn't have thought of Ivanhoe's as a really good. They're in downtown Racine on Main Street. And I don't really think of them as a French fry place, but
we had seen other reviews.
Yep,
and
we'd seen
people
reviews.
Had said, the fries are really good there.
Yep.
So we went there, and they were hot.
So here's what was weird was when we walked in, we sat down. She asked us if we wanted menus, and we said, actually, no, we're just here. We just want some fries. We don't want any drinks or anything. And she goes, okay. And then she just took off. Yeah. Oh, that was the thing. Sorry. At Bridge Tender, she asked, do you want a small, medium, or large? And we just said just a small, because we're just doing a sample thing. But we get to Ivanhoe's, and we told her we wanted to order some fries. We just wanted one serving of fries. And she was like, okay. And she took off, and she disappeared. And we kind of sat there going,
did she take our order?
Did she take our order? Did she not take our order? And then we were really confused, because we were just sitting there, and there was she didn't come back to the table or anything. She was flitting around and everything. Yeah. However, as it turns out, Ivanhoe's only has one size of fry, so there wasn't any other question she needed to ask. Yeah. And all of a sudden, a couple minutes later, boom, there we were. We had fries on our table. Yeah. So at first we were a little confused, but as it turns out, she was just doing what she was supposed to do. So she did a good job. It was just confusing to us, because we didn't realize she didn't say anything like, okay, I'll be right back, or I'll put that order in, or anything like that. She was just like, okay, and walked away. Mm-hmm. So the other nice thing about Ivanhoe's is that it's a flat $5. And if you're paying cash, it's literally a flat $5. Yeah. There's no extras. They obviously include the tax in the price.
And that one did come with a sauce.
And that one came with a sauce. And you can see here, it also came on a nice plate. It actually looked it wasn't just in a basket like at a pub. Mm-hmm. And although Ivanhoe's is a pub and bar, primarily, that's what they do most of their business with. But it came on a nice plate. Yeah. And it did have sauce. And they were slightly thicker than either of the ones they were slightly thicker than the ones at Bridge Tender. Yeah. And very good. And we could tell there was a seasoning. First of all, it had more salt, which we both liked. Still not as much as we like, but definitely it was nice. Mm-hmm. However,
we asked what the seasoning was,
and why did we ask?
They were coated.
But we could also taste something.
We could taste
there was something. It wasn't just like salt. It wasn't just like a fry and salt. Yeah. There was some other flavors in there. And there were some little black specks. And so we said, hey, what's the... And so as it turns out, it was garlic. Salt, pepper, and garlic is what they use for their seasoning. The garlic is not overwhelming in any way, shape, or form.
No, it wasn't.
Russ is not a huge lover of garlic flavoring or
I
garlic.
like garlic, but not too overpowering.
I love garlic. I can have as much garlic. He must be the vampire, not me.
I like chilies and shit.
Yeah. I like some chilies. Heat. Yeah, you like heat and I like the other. But they were extremely tasty. They had a really good flavor to them. They were nice and crunchy on the outside. They were hot when they arrived, even though they were on a cold plate. They were hot when they arrived, and they were fluffy. They had a coating on them, and you could see the salt, pepper, and that it was something more than just salt. You could tell. Because they had little black specks. The salt, pepper, and garlic was really, really nice. That was a really nice change. Yeah. So then... once again, we then went on to our third place, and this was probably the most surprising when we were doing our research. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect this place to pop up as, oh, you got to try their fries. And yet...
Because we'd had other stuff fried.
Well, they're not known for French fries. Like, that's not what makes them great in Racine.
So we've had the eggplant fries.
Yes, and those are amazing.
They are amazing.
That's not our honorable mention, but those are amazing as well. And if you do go to this place, you need to try the eggplant fries as well. But they're regular fries.
They were really good.
And where is this?
Big surprise. I said Wells Brothers.
Exactly. Wells Brothers is not known for... nobody says, hey, I'm going to go to Wells Brothers and get fries.
No.
But every review we saw...
They do amazing pizza.
Yeah.
They do amazing soup.
Yep.
They do amazing tiramisu.
He likes tiramisu. But it's really authentic tiramisu.
And their Parmesan fries are to die for.
Eggplant fries with Parmesan. Yeah. They are really, really nice. We never even thought... Well, I've never ordered French fries from Wells Brothers because I would never think to do that when I was there. But if you really like French fries, you should. Because Wells Brothers... First of all, they were the thickest cut. They were not thick cut. They were not like wedges or anything. No. But they were the thickest, I would say, most meaty cut of French fry is a good way to say it. Mm-hmm. They were the thickest cut, as you can see in the picture. They came again, They
also were the hottest out of all of them.
Oh my goodness. They were super hot. I literally had to wait to eat them. They came out so piping hot. They were like the first one I put in my mouth, I was like, whoa. I actually had to stop and wait for it to cool off because it was so hot. It burned my tongue a little bit. Not their fault. But, I mean, that's actually a really good quality to have really hot fries. They were very crispy, very fluffy interior, and they had as much salt as Ivanhoe's. Again, still not as much salt as we would like, but I get it because you don't want to put too much salt on because some people can't have much salt.
Some people can't have it. You can always add salt to them.
Yeah, you can always add salt. There was salt at the table when we were sitting there. Mm-hmm. We just sat in the bar because we didn't want to take up a regular table where people... We were actually went and did this on a Saturday night, and we did not want to take up tables where, to make them turn tables. So we just sat in the bar at a bar table for the 10 minutes that we were there. Again, really fast service.
Really friendly service as well.
Yep, really fast, really friendly, super hot fries, and they actually had the largest portion.
Out of those three,
out of the three that we went to, the three that we checked out that were highly reviewed, they had the largest portion of fries.
Yeah.
So it was a very generous, easily 2 people, that would be enough fries for 2 people.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. We, again, didn't eat all of them right then and there, but, that would have made a nice side dish for 2 people. Like if you had a pizza and you wanted fries on the side, that would have been plenty.
Oh yeah,
you get a small pizza and fries, and you got more food than what you really need. So definitely, it was the most generous size, as you can see from the picture. It was a nice and actually the picture doesn't do it justice because what you don't see is the thickness of the basket. Like when I picked them up to put them in my container so what we did was we had another container in the car. I know it sounds really bougie, but we had a container in the car. So when we got to the car, I took out my small container, dumped them into the big container, and then took the small container back into the next place, which we did at both at Bridge Tender and Ivanhoe's. But then by the time we got to Wells, we just left them in the container that I brought in, which was a small one. But when I picked them up to put them in the small container, I couldn't quite get the lid on it, even though we had sampled just as many there as we had at the previous places.
Yeah.
And in fact, for me, I ate more at Wells Brothers than I did at the others because A, we knew it was our last one, but B, they were really good.
They were good.
I liked them. I liked them a lot. So let's, before we get to our honorable mention, that would be really great for family. And they came in at just under $5.
Yeah.
They were just under $5.
They were very reasonably priced as well.
Yes, they were just under $5, and they were the largest portion too.
Yeah.
Bridge Tender, I would say, if I looked at their single portion, they were the smallest. When you ask just for a small, see, the difference is also Wells does not have. Wells Brothers does not have size differences. Ivanhoe's doesn't have size differences. But if we were going with just the basic, and they were all about the same price, to be honest, every single fry we had were all around the $4.50, $5.
$5.
Yeah, they were all $4.50, $5 per
portion.
per portion. So, or $4.35 or something. I don't remember what exactly they were at Bridge Tender, but I just know 2 of them came to like top 8, and I just rounded it to 10 for their bill, for their tip. So each of them was like in the $4.50 to $5 range, and the smallest portion was from Bridge Tender for sure, 100%, no doubt. And the second largest was Ivanhoe, which was nice, but I still feel like it was a single portion. Like it wasn't enough for 2 people to share and really get a nice feeling like you had enough fries. But then Wells was quite generous, I would say, in their portion of fries.
Yeah.
And like I said, all of them were the same price. They were all right around the $5, $4.50. Yeah. I think Wells might have been $5.25, but 25 cents is not going to break the bank if you're going out for dinner anyway. Like, that's...
So they were all really nice.
All really nice. But which ones did we like best? We'll get to the honorable mention here in a minute, but... Which ones did we like best? Russ, which one did you like best?
I really liked the buffalo fries. If they'd been a bit thicker, they were the thinnest of all the fries that we sampled.
Which is why I was like, no.
But the flavour I found was really, really good.
I think that's partly, though, just because you like spicy.
Yeah.
I think if you had a buffalo sauce or what's the sauce that you put on everything that you want to here at home? Yeah, if you had some sriracha,
hot sauce,
you probably would have put, if you could put sriracha on any of the other fries, you probably would have had a similar flavor to the buffalo. So, and I will tell you, the buffalo fries were my least favorite, and that's because I like a meaty fry. I like a fry that has a nice fluffy interior with a super crisp outer coating. And if a fry is too thin, you just never get that fluffy interior.
Yeah, I think Wells Brothers would have been my second choice.
And Wells was my number 1. If I was going to pick my favorite fries, and by the way, I'm not a big lover of French fries in general. This video and this experiment was more Russ's idea than mine, because this is not my top, type food. But it was, to me, Wells Brothers was the clear winner for me because they were the meatiest fries. They were super fluffy. Yeah. They were super hot. Like if you wanted to order these as a takeout, like if you wanted to go and
still be hot when
they'd still be hot when you got home.
For us.
Yeah, they were. Now we don't live too far from Wells Brothers, so that helps. But still, they were super hot. If we had just taken them as a to-go, coming out that hot. Whew. Now,
and when we put them in under a broiler.
So then, what I was going to say,
got home because
you can see this picture. So you can see this picture. We hadn't had dinner. This was like our little pre-thing, and then we were coming home to have dinner, and we thought we'll have the rest of the fries with our dinner. Which was a little more fries than we probably should eat because 4 servings basically, not very good, but. We took it for the team. But partly because by the time we got home, the fries were all pretty cooled off. And I wanted to test because sometimes when people go out, they do have leftover fries when they get home. Fries are one of the most common things for people to take home of leftovers because they're going to eat the really nice foods necessarily, and fries sometimes get left to the side. How did they reheat? Well, we stuck them under the broiler when we got home. And
whilst I cooked dinner.
Yep, while you got the rest of dinner going, which was only about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. And again, what we found is that the Bridge Tender ones came out a little bit crispier because they were so thin. They were almost dried out by the time you reheated them, but they reheated okay. Yeah. They were okay, but if we'd gotten them crispier, maybe, but I think they would have been a little burned if we'd gotten them crispier. Yeah. The Ivanhoe ones stood up really nice as well. And I have to say, for me, Ivanhoe's would be my second favorite. For you, Bridge Tender Buffalo was your favorite and Wells was second. But I did really like the flavor on the Ivanhoe's garlic.
Yeah, the garlic.
That garlic and the pepper. I don't normally do fries. And I've started thinking, maybe I should do like a, if we do like some potatoes, maybe that, salt, pepper, garlic combo might be a really nice, I think it really worked well for potatoes in general.
Yes, it did.
So, Ivanhoe's would get my second place.
So what's the special mention?
Okay, so our honorable mention is, and here's the thing. The reason this didn't make the regular cut also is because this is from a franchise. And what we were trying to evaluate was local businesses here in Racine that have great fries. And so we wanted to look at more of the local type places.
Yeah, because we all know McDonald's do fries, Burger King do fries.
And I wasn't going to get into the battle of who does better fries between McDonald's and Burger King. However, if you have a family and you are on a budget, our honorable mention is where you want to go and get fries. Because you might not be going to Ivanhoe's. You most likely would not be going to Bridge Tender with a lot of kids.
And you won't see this on the menu either.
And you won't. It's not on their menu, but if you ask for it, when you go to Culver's, ask them for a family size fry. You should absolutely never get their regular fries if you're going with your kids and the family.
Yeah.
Because the regular fries are, if you have one for each kid, or even if you're sharing one between each kid, you will pay more money. Because if you know this trick, you ask them for their family size fry. And what they do is they take their fish dinner basket, their version of that, and they fill that with French fries.
Yeah.
And it's $5.
Yeah.
So it ranks right in there. I would say it probably has at least twice as many as what we got at Wells Brothers.
Yes.
As far as the amount of fries,
but it's
really
the same
big
price. Portion. Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you don't like Culver's fries, some people don't, and some people go to Culver's for cheese curds instead of fries. But if you're going to take the kids for burgers and fries at Culver's, do not get individual fries. Probably don't want to get a meal deal. You probably just want to drink water, have some great burgers, and especially if you're trying to eat healthy and stay on a budget,
Family fries. It's a large portion, a big tray of them.
Yeah.
For $5.
Russ and I have sometimes done that as our dinner.
Yeah.
Just because he loves French fries, and it's kind of like a little treat for him. We'll do our date night, and what we do is we come home and maybe we'll have a sandwich a couple hours later to finish off our dinner. But just going and getting...
I prefer chips.
Yeah.
And when I say chips, I mean UK chips, which is...
a thicker thing. It's like more like...
Yeah,
it's a lot thicker. But he really likes French fries from Culver's, and at $5 a pop for a family fry, don't miss it. Like, you absolutely should get it. It's an amazingly large portion for an extremely cheap price.
For money, they are the winner.
Or if you're going just for ice cream, but you want to have some like salty with the savor, we want to have some savory with the sweet, get a thing of fries, and you'll all be really, really happy if you want to have a little bit of savory with that sweet that you're getting. So that is our evaluation of fries in Racine. So we're going to ask you today is, if you've not been to these three, that's fine. Where have you been in Racine that you think the fries are amazing? Which fries do you think are fantastic?
Let us know.
Let us know in the comments.
And if you got value from this content, don't forget, click like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on so you don't miss any of our content.
Yep. And we've got a whole bunch more coming this year, and quite a bit actually. We have. We've got a lot of it already planned out, so it's just a matter of getting them recorded and dropping them in there for you guys. And lots of things. We are going to be doing a lot more food reviews as well. We've got ice cream, we've got pizza, we've got breakfast, we've got Mexican, we've got Chinese, I think.
Yeah, or is Chinese for next year?
I think Chinese might be next year. I think we were going to do that for the new year for 2026. I know we have Mexican. I know we have pizza. I know we have fries. I know we have breakfast. Lots of really great reviews. And we are trying to stick to local Racine businesses. So if you also know a local Racine business that falls into one of those categories that you want us to evaluate, drop that in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know. So anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. And hopefully you are able to have some great fries as well. And bye for now.
Bye.
Yeah. Here we go. I remember back when I was young and clever and no one knew my name.
That's not going to make the bloopers.
Go ahead.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So if you like our content...
No, we don't give a shit if you like our content.